I'll get started again. So this is what we did last week. So we wanted to find out what commands there are other than ls and cd. And then we started off by highlighting to use SSH rather than using no motion all the time because it's just simply faster. We printed something using echo. We could also print a date on the Linux terminal. We could create a single empty file and we could copy a file. We could do a more complex SSH commands like print something after connected to a server. And we could find the file and we could find the columns from printed line and we could redirect the output files into text files, okay? And we could run a command and we could pipe them into another command so we can work on the output of the command. And we also replaced certain characters in a text file to something else, and we could send the email out of it. And today we will go into a simple loop after revising a few commands from last week. So this is a new function that we learned today. Let's go to home directory Linux tutorial, and there will be a folder called codes. So this folder, this directory contains 3 other directories called Kevin, Rick, and Thomas. If you go under Kevin, you will see 2 bash scripts. First one is called run_anet analysis. Second one is run_dwa analysis. Let's see how they look like. Okay, it's a simple bash command, bat xy, fsl mask x minus mask and mask y. We see how it looks like on the Thomas. Thomas also has run_anet analysis and same pattern. Okay, so similar pattern. All right, last time we learned how we can visualize a structure of the directory by tree. Okay, out of the tree. So we can see for each individual folder, there are 2 scripts. All right, but here's what I want to do, and this happens often in P&L. So in these 6 bash file, one of the bash file is using ents registration. How would you find that? This happens a lot of time. So in my Dropbox, there's a bunch of bash Python scripts, but I sometimes want to find a script that is using specific function that I want to find again. And I want to do that quickly. One way of doing this is just catting all of them and seeing them one by one, but there's a function for you, like this ACK and the space. So you are now on the Linux tutorial /code. What you do, ACK, and then type the text that you want to find, and registration. Then what it does, it searches all the files on the PWD where you are, and then it searches for content of each file, searching for every line for the given word. So you can know, oh, Kevin used ent registration on the run_anet_analysis without going through all the files. Okay, so this is one use of ACK. This might be quite helpful when you work with different number of scripts. All right, that was ACK. But if you're using your Mac, you can install through brew, install ACK. So yeah, that was a long recap and just single new command. But today we will talk about variable and string. This will also be extended into Python, but if you are new to programming or new to Linux, it is quite difficult to understand what is variable and what is string. So you can think of variable as a data container, whereas string is just letters and characters. So let me see here. So say a equal 1. You do echo a. It's printing a. Because echo a, this a here, is just a string. It's nothing. Okay? But if you put a $, you're telling your shell that you are looking for variable a. not character A, returning 1. Okay, let's do this again. So A equal ABC. I'm going to do echo A. It's just printing the character, the letter A. But if I do $A, it's printing what was stored in the variable A. Okay, whenever there's a $sign in Linux is a variable. Variable is a container. You can contain few different things. You can even contain paths like /Linux tutorial /codes, then echo it. You can ls it. So container, the variable is different from strings, and Linux differentiates with a $sign. Okay, it's perfectly fine. If you don't understand it, you will get it through our practice. But this is important concept in programming, because by defining variables, you can repeat stuff afterwards. All right. Next thing, let's set A as haha, and I'm gonna print what A is. Printing haha. Okay. Let's try printing A twice. Is ha 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 ha. Simple, right? But when I do just AA, echo AA, it's printing string AA. All right. How about I want to print this variable A one time and print another A right after it? It's printing nothing. This is because if you put $sign, Linux will grab everything that's after $sign before any spaces and look for that variable. So now this is looking for AA variable, not A variable and character A. It doesn't know how to tell the difference if you don't tell it. So if you want to tell, get A variable and character A, you will have to put curly brackets into it. So haha, which was the information stored in A, and there's a character A after it. Okay? You don't have to understand the last one, but if you get the concept that $A is a variable and just A is a string, which is character or letters, then I'm happy. You'll be okay. You don't even have to learn this. Okay? Okay, please use SSH rather than the machine. It's easier, faster. SSH -X, your ID, and the IP of the server. If you are following me right now and inside the PNL cluster, please run this. So there's a create_example.bash.sh file. If you run this, it's going to create another examples under your home directory. So we can actually type the commands together. If you are outside PNL and using Linux or Mac, you can also do this. I put up the code online under my Git, so you can pull it through git clone in your own laptop and then run the same command by bash linux tutorial /create_example.sh. But if you are in the server, in the cluster, please use this. And even you ran the command last week, I updated the create_example.bash. So please run it again. All right, this is what we did last time. So we tried printing random words by echo, print date by date. We could create an empty file, haha, and then we could see haha. There was nothing inside it, but there was a file. Okay, we could also create another file, empty file with another name. We could have a look what's inside using cats. And this was the this was a new from last week. There's a find command. Find all the files that matches this pattern from all the files and all the directories from where you are. Find all the files that matches this pattern from this directory, and then remove everything that gets searched by this. Okay. And then we went to AWK, which is a column editor. So we could find the files all the files that ends with dwi.nii.zz from the location that you are in. And then we could cut them by slash in the output. And then we could print the second, third, or fourth column from it. We're going to do this together again so we can remember it. And then we tried piping. So print something, pipe into head. So it will only print the first 10 lines of the cat, 10 lines at the end if you do tail, and only grab the lines that contains Kevin. Okay? We could even replace all the occurrences of Kevin underscore Cho into subject 0 in all the lines from this file and replace them into subject 0. Yep. So once you run this, cd home directory Linux tutorial, and when you type ls, you will see reckonall.log. Let's print it. Let's print them. Reckonall log. It's a long file, so I will just print the last 10 lines. It's a long file, but you see, there's still Kevin because we reran the create example.sh. Have a go changing them into your name using sed. I'll have a go as well. sed-i, s for substitute, and Kevin underscore Cho into your name. You type your name, obviously, and then the input, reckonall log. Prints nothing because it replaces the words in the text file. How would you check there's no Kevin on the Cho?
Grep.
Yeah, I'll do that. Reckonall and then grab. I'll look for Kevin in the Cho. It's clear. It means there's no Kevin on the Cho in the text file. That's clear. Okay. So let's try this. There will be a new file called complex line. So if you do ls, you will see a complex underscore line.csv file. Let's cat them. Complex underscore line looks like this. It's a CSV format. So comma is separating informations. So you can think of the first item before the comma as the first column, second column, third column, and fourth column, and so on. Okay, so let's get the first column by splitting complex line by comma. We did it last week. So first just cat them and then put it into AWK. You tell them you will split them by comma this time, and you tell them to print the first column. Okay, let's get the date column. Have a go. So how I normally do it, I literally just go on like this. 3, okay, 4, okay, 5, okay, 6. Okay, I got it. This is 6. That's how I get different columns. And now let's get 2016-08-30, which is included here. Have a go. You have to use 2 pipes.
Can you repeat that one more time?
Yep. So we just using the AWK, we got the date here, this information, which was in the 6th column. Now we want to grab the date here included in the, this was 6, 7, 8, 9, 10th column, but we want to grab only this date. How would you do this? I'll probably first get this line first. So get this line first using AWK. So let me do it. Let me erase all that. Cat complex line, and then AWK, split them by comma, and then I'm gonna, is it 8? Nope. 10? Yes, so 10, but I still need to split again here, but I see a good pattern of slash. Then what I do, I pipe them again. AWK, this time I'm gonna cut them by slash and make them into columns. And then I want to print what is the first column. Okay, then I go on like this, 2, 2 is empty because there's 2 slashes in the beginning. 3, 4, 5. And 5 includes the information that we want to get. What should I do now here? The same thing again. I'm going to cut them up by AWK, this time by underscore. And then is 1, 2, 3, third item. It's getting complex. And when the pipe gets this complex, usually there's another command that you can use, but this is just trying to make you understand and make you use AWK for yourself. Okay. So, all right, this, if you do ls, you do cat multi-lines. Now it has multi-line information in a CSV format. Similarly, from the last file, the delimiter is comma. Delimiter is still comma, but each line contains different information. Okay, so let's do this. Get the first column of this file. Same thing. AWK, cut it by comma, print the first column. Okay, now get the date column, which was here. This is. Okay, now try getting this again. Put them up, 8, 9, 10. Yep, cut them up again with slash, print. What is the first item after cutting by slash? Should be S3, comma, undo. I'm gonna try 4. Okay, I'm gonna try 5. So the 5 contains the information that I want to get, the dates. So now I split them up by underscores and print third item. Okay, so you can do pipes one more time. You can do another commands after each pipe. So you can do more complex functions. All right.